Well, hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. You can catch us on digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air this afternoon. Catch us on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is Joy News. Thanks for choosing us. We are independent, fearless, and credible. Coming up this afternoon as well, Nkranza youth on rampage as they block roads in front of the Municipal Police Command to demand justice for a native who allegedly died in police custody. The youth accused police of killing him. This afternoon, the IGP, the head of the Regional Security Council, and other security chiefs are gathered in town for an emergency security council meeting. We're live there with all the details for you. Well, so this afternoon as well, we're keeping our eyes on the unemployed nurses who have hit the streets of Accra demanding their immediate postings by the Ministry of Health. We'll bring you details as they accuse the Health Ministry of corruption in the recruitment process.
Pleading on the government should post us now. We are tired of sitting at home.
We are just begging on the government. We are just pleading on to him that he should post us now.
We completed 2019, my brother. It's not easy. We are still burdens onto our parents.
Well, there's more coming up for you. We're also keeping our eyes on this afternoon. Heavily built armed men stormed a radio station in Elmina, vandalizing property and also assaulting presenters on duties. It's now emerging that the station was discussing some issues relating to the diversion of premix fuel.
So at the studio doing my show as it is every Monday I did. Then a bunch of people rushed into my office and started beating me without asking me anything.
I am Blessed Sogah. Of course, this is The Pulse. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu, affordable, safe sanitation. This afternoon as well, we're streaming live on all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV and also on YouTube as well. Feel free to join us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Blessed Sogah. Always a pleasure serving you here on The Pulse. Please stay. And a warm afternoon to you from wherever you're watching us. We're coming to you live here in Accra. We start from Nkranza in the Bono East region, where this afternoon the youth there are on rampage. They say the native of the area, Albert Donko, known to many as a footballer and a trader, was killed by police after being arrested for an alleged armed robbery incident. Albert died in April whilst the police was transporting him to another police station outside the Nkranza town itself. But youth of the area and relatives have been accusing the police of deliberately killing him. There's been no word from the police so far on this, and as we speak, that's the situation in the town. But this afternoon, tension as well, we know, is on the rise as the youth are on the streets demanding justice. All these are happening right in front of the IGP, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare. The regional minister and other security chiefs are currently locked up in an emergency Regional Security Council meeting over the matter. Ohim Interior, one of the members of our security desk, is actually on the ground covering all of the angles developing on this story. He will join us for more on this. First, though, a background to the whole of the incident. Ohim's report brought to you right now.
A mother withers in pain as she recounts her last moments with one of her sons who was picked up in an ungodly hour by police. The 28-year-old second-hand shoe dealer and a digital satellite installer was bundled into an unregistered private car on suspicion of being an armed robber. That was the last time the mother will be setting her eyes on the man who has been providing the needs of the family.
No more better come. Mamma walker and mubia can I rebia more. Mumua mubia, mumubia, tuna come mubia. Na aqualano quite infini and the tree team cannon. Intianokore.
Inside the Kasajan home of Albert Akwesidonko, there is an unsettling scene of clothes and other personal items strewn about in one of the rooms. The police team ransacked Albert's room in search of evidence to incriminate him, but his uncle, Reverend Dr. Matthias Sarkodie, who led me to his nephew's room, says the police found nothing incriminating.
Deep in the night, around 2:30, the vehicle they brought over here was not a registered vehicle, and it wasn't an official vehicle of the police. The mother was even about to join them, and they took the vehicle away. Kwasi was not part of the armed robbers, so they had nothing to say, rather to inform us to be moving up and down, at least to steal time in order to have another case to present to the regional commander.
Residents allege Albert was picked after bumping into an armed robbery scene which involved some police officers, an allegation we cannot independently verify. But police sources say the deceased was shot in crossfire between police and suspected armed robbers in an attempt to arrest other accomplices. At Techimai, headquarters of the Bono East Regional Police Command, police declined to comment on the issue. Back at Nkranza, the killing of Albert has angered the youth who want justice for Albert. Nana Ejay Bafu Romeo is convener of the Nkranza Youth Association.
It's Albert today, but tomorrow who is next? It could be me. This is not a Nkranza issue. This is a national issue. Please, men that we are paying with our taxes, those who are in uniform to protect us are now the people that are turning back to harm us. The youth are angry, but we are calming things down. If not, they will have been violent, there will have been chaos, but we don't want a situation or a scenario that we will lose another life. We don't want to lose any life. The streets we will hit. We just want justice. We have to display our displeasure.
The police at Techimai say the matter is being handled at the national headquarters. From Nkranza, in the Bono East region for JoyNews, Ohiminteria reporting.
Ohiming, if you can hear me, I was asking about the regional security meeting which is underway.
Thank you, my brother. Currently, the meeting is over. The Regional Security Council members, led by the Regional Minister, Kosi Adujan, a while ago, were in Nkranza to speak to the media on what the Regional Security Council has done, and also to give some little background information. Just to add that the Regional Minister, from his presentation and his engagement with the media, it appears the RESEC is also being kept in the dark because information flow is a challenge for the Regional Security Council. And so the Regional Minister said they are expecting the IGP and the National Headquarters of the Ghana Police Service to at least come out to tell the general public as to what transpired or what led to the death of the young Albert Donko, who the Regional Minister says his death has sort of, interrupted with the security in Nkranza.
And we have already seen videos of the youth on the street. Tell us what's going on there as we speak.
Yes, currently the youth of Nkranza, these are concerned youth and members of the Nkranza Youth Association who have hit the streets just a while ago before the arrival of the Regional Security Council members. They have met with the Omanhene of Nkranza, where the Omanhene told them to be calm and also expect that RESEC on their behalf will work to ensure that they get justice for the departed Albert Donko. So Nana Kwame Bafo the Fourth, the Omanhene of Nkranza, also assured the youth of the Traditional Council support to unravel circumstances that led to the gentleman and also ensure that they get the needed justice for the young man and the family. And he even said that looking at there appears to be an insecurity, feeling of insecurity in Nkranza, and he cited himself as an example. He said he doesn't feel safe because if you could be, sleeping in your bedroom, somebody comes, takes you, and then that ends your life, then the residents of Nkranza should be concerned. And so he appealed to the IGP to expedite investigations into the matter And few minutes after leaving the Oman's palace, the young, men just hit the streets, carrying vehicle tires, and then some also holding logs of timber, marching towards the municipal police headquarters. And as we speak, just a few meters away from where the youth have come together and mass up, they are demanding that police come out to explain what led to the death of Albert Donko, and they say they want justice. From there, my conversations with them, the leadership, they told me what we are seeing today is just a rehearsal of events that are yet to unfold in Nkranza. And he says, beyond today, starting from tomorrow, that is where they want to increase the velocity of whatever they are doing, to also push authorities out there to expedite action in the investigations. And as we speak, residents, especially motorists who are traveling from Ejira to Nkranza Township, and those traveling from Nkranza to Ejira have been forced to convert the dual carriage double lane into a single lane each. So what it means is that those traveling from Ejira who had just the luxury to use a double lane are now being forced to share that lane with those who are traveling from Nkranza to Ejira, because the youth have closed the bit from just in front of the municipal police command headquarters. So they are still chanting and also opening the place, and you can see that the fire is still, in flames. They are not budging. They want to, for them, they want to infuriate the police for police to respond. And when police react or respond, that is where they say they will also show them where power lies. And so now it's just that they are giving like 6 for task. Now they want police to react what they are doing. But unfortunately, few police officers who are seen around seems not to be perturbed with what is going on. A male police officer I saw just, hop onto his motorbike and then sped off. A few other policewomen around, some in mufti, are standing just in front of the main entrance to the police station, and also watching events as they unfold here. But I must also say that the respect team members came into contact with these gentlemen, the angry youth. But the youth, I overheard somebody say that it's a Oman's convoy that is passing by, and because he's the overlord of the land, they should give him that passage. So they opened, and I realized it was being led by a military vehicle. And later, when I got to the regional Security Council media briefing, that's where I got to know that it was the regional minister's convoy, respect members' convoy. So I must say, yes, the people, especially the youth, are agitated, they are unhappy, and they have placards, and also, displaying placards indicating that they want justice for their colleague Albert Donko. So for now, the regional minister admits that as a regional minister presiding over a region where somebody has been picked and then led by police, and later, about 3 weeks later, the area we heard of his death, then he, as a regional minister, is very, very, very disturbed.
All right.
He expects the IGP to work on the situation as quick as possible.
Thank you. I want to bring in now Dr. Adam Bona, who's a security analyst, joining us now. He's also been monitoring developments there in Nkranza. Thank you, Doc, for your time. So let's get to this. This would not be the first time we're experiencing such a situation between the police and the public. What do we do to calm tensions, first of all?
Oh, yes. Good afternoon to you, Blessed. My condolences to the bereaved family, the deceased Albert's family. And, let me use this opportunity to caution the rampaging youths to demonstrate responsibly. Albert has already lost his life, and obviously we are all aware investigations will be conducted. They have demonstrated enough, and therefore I would call them and I would say that they should probably allow the police, the RECSEC, and those who are clothed with power to peacefully conduct these investigations to ensure that they call it the justice they are seeking for Albert. They get it for him. And that if they go on this way, if they are not very careful, more lives are likely to be lost, because then there are other people who might be crossing between Nkoranza to other neighboring towns and regions. And we should be law-abiding. And so I would call them not to provoke probably the security agencies, because once they do that, then chances are that they are going to ensure that they bring peace and order within the locality. And we've seen it in other places where it didn't end too well. So I will call the leadership of the Nkoranza Youth Association to lay down their weapons, to stop burning tires on the streets, because these streets, when you do that, you destroy the streets, the lifespan of the streets or the road, the tarred road. So they shouldn't do that, because it is for them. I would also urge that the police conduct, a speedy investigation into this, so that we know what actually happened. I'm told the IGP's delegation is on its way to Nkoranza, and pretty shortly they will arrive in Nkoranza. I do believe that when they get there, I think it's a fact-finding mission. Once they get there, they will put themselves together to be able to tell us what they've been able to pick from the Bono East or the Nkoranza municipal area.
And what's surprising is that this incident, as we understand, happened on the 25th of April. Nothing has happened since we heard from the police or the RECSEC. Is this the source of the chaos, perhaps, that we're seeing on the streets?
Possibly so, because then it means that somebody didn't treat this to be so important. I'm saying this because usually you will have a police regional commander. The police service, they have 18 regional command areas, including Tema and the Kaswa area. The Kaswa is the latest police region. And so each of these regions are usually manned by a senior police officer. If the regional police commander is not there, there's supposed to be a 2IC, or the second in command in the region. And so at every given point, the region, none of the police regions, per what I know, none of them is supposed to be without a regional commander or a 2IC. At least there should be a 2IC if the regional commander is not there. Or if the regional commander is there, the 2IC can go off to perform other private or other official functions. And so it begs the question, what happened when this young man died? It involved police officers who we are told are anti-robbery squad who encountered him or picked him up from home. The stories are too many. But I have also been asking my own questions. Probably if the things were done according to laid down police protocols, we wouldn't have gotten here, like you asked. It's taking too long. Somebody should have, shared information to the powers that be, shared it probably with their bosses to say, okay, this is a situation we have at hand. But maybe somebody did it. And so I know the IGP, knowing who he is, and his assistants, Yohonu and the rest, are likely to ensure that the people of Nkoranza get the full briefing and facts. But as far as I'm concerned, police interrogations, at least all police interrogators have been told that if you have to interrogate a suspect, record the person, film the person on video and audio, have it, so that if the person even goes to court and decide that, you know what, this confession statement, I gave it out under duress, but the courts or the judge who is sitting in state will look at the evidence and look at the person's demeanor and say, you were not touching. But unfortunately, I have asked, when he was picked up, and they according to what I've heard, they interrogated him. The police officers who interrogated him, did they record anything? Because they are supposed to do that. Did they record him, video or audio? If they didn't, and they end up coming to tell the general public that he confessed to some firearms that were hiding or that they've hidden in some forest area, then it is their word against the dead person's word. How would the general public believe them? From where I sit, working with the police for many years, you know, they have their own laid down set of protocols, and if they are followed, usually you don't see some of these disturbances. But the moment somebody begins to ignore the protocols, then you would see some of these situations coming up. And so as far as I'm concerned, I will not be able to tell whether he's an armed robber, he was not an armed robber, but if you put 1 and 2 together, if you were to put a plus in between them, you might not get a 3. So it is not adding up. It means there's something missing in this whole scenario that is playing up. And I would want that, I know that they are likely to constitute, the police itself usually constitute their own investigative team, but some of us will request that probably something that looks like, you know, a committee, an independent committee, something that looks like the one that they put together, the interior minister put together for the Aswansi 7 deaths that told us that the police acted wrongly. These people were not armed robbers. Let's have something like that. While the police also, obviously, they are clothed with power to investigate, so they should go ahead. But I want to see probably an independent, you know, committee, not made up of the police, also taking their turn to investigate this. Because looking at what is going on, the last thing anyone wants is the young people to take the laws into their own hands. And you see, Ghana, we must abide by the laws of this country. If they are not careful, a curfew could be, you know, they'll be issued a curfew, you know, signal will hit the municipality. And when there is curfew, they will send soldiers in, everybody must sleep. And so they shouldn't take the laws into their own hands. They are demanding for justice, but they should do that responsibly. But if they cross certain lines, then the state would have the responsibility to ensure that demonstrators and demonstrators who are within that municipality are, you know, protected, you know, using state resources. So I think they should be responsible. If you are listening to me, we have heard them enough. I think investigations are already underway. And so saying that this is just the beginning, for me, sends shivers to me, and I can already see a curfew if they don't tone down and they continue to create more chaos in the town. You know, we don't want to see a second Ejra in, what do you call it, the Bono East area.
Right, and I guess that beyond investigations, punishment is what will definitely help residents to come to terms with what has been done so far and what has happened. What do you think about that, effecting arrest at this moment?
Well, I think that usually it will be too early to say somebody should be punished because I don't have the full facts. After investigations, if it comes out that these police officers who did this acted wrongly, for instance, I've cited their own protocol that says, if you are interrogating a suspect, film him, record him on audio. If they didn't do that, it means that they didn't go by their own, you know, one of the things they are supposed to do. I would, by this also urge that probably these officers are interdicted. Sometimes when these things are done and the young people or the demonstrators get to know that, okay, they are already facing some sanctions by their employer, it calms nerves down, you know, so that the police and the authorities are able to perform the functions, you know, given them by the state in terms of protecting lives and property. So yes, if after investigations, it comes out that the officers involved acted wrongly, I would call for the severest of punishment. And I know officers who lost their jobs, and some of them are in prison in Saom and other prisons around the country. And so working closely with the police, I will tell you that, working with them, I will tell you that the IGP will tell you, me, I will not shield any police officer. I'm not here to shield, and I will not shield any citizens, any citizen who crosses the line. So listen, I think let's use your medium to appeal to the people. First of all, we don't want any lives lost. They shouldn't destroy property. They should go back home, believing that the police and our authorities are in charge, or else there could be a curfew in the area, and who suffers? Business and other activities will come to a halt. We don't want that in that area, no.
We'll still keep our eyes on that. Dr. Adam Muna, thank you for joining us here on The Pulse Now. An Elmina-based radio station, Brinya FM, in the Central Region was attacked on Monday by unknown people. According to reports, the radio station was discussing matters on non-availability of premix fuel and how those who are not fishermen were giving the product to the detriment of fisher folk who need it. Now, according to eyewitnesses, in the middle of the discussion, some muscularly built men stormed the station, disrupted the discussion, pulled down some of the equipment, and beat up the presenter.
Mina-based Benya FM, it was attacked yesterday. The presenter was beaten. He was just discharged from the hospital. What really happened? They said they were having a radio discussion that centered on the premix fuel, its distribution, the cartel that has been hoarding it, and all of that. And they were here when some muscularly built individuals stormed the station, disorganized the entire thing they were doing, and so the discussion had to come to a halt. In the process, they had to subject the presenter. Let me engage the presenter who was beaten. He said, what exactly really happened?
I was at the studio doing my show as it is every Monday I did. Then a bunch of people rushed into my office and started beating me without asking me anything.
What was the discussion about?
The discussion was about the premise, how they share it, and today, that day, the MCE did his best to let the place become. But those people, they said they are the people of the MCE, and they bunch in that they want to take their share of the premise. And after the incidents, I asked, what are they doing with the premise? Because they don't have canoe, they don't have anything that will make them come, and even the cat scratch that they used to take the fuel, they don't have some. So, and I was advising the MCE that I've heard that they said the boy is in his camp. So if a person is in your camp, see their welfare, give them something to do, and let them stop going to the fuel station, doing whatever they... That was what I was saying. I was advising the MCE.
So your concerns were that these people that were given the premix fuel, they are not fishermen,
yes,
they don't own canoes, yes, and ordinarily they do not qualify to be given a premix fuel.
Yes, sir.
So what ensued thereafter?
After that, I was in the office doing my daily job as I did.
So you were on air?
I'm on air doing my show as it is. And
tell me how the entire thing unfolded. They rushed
into the studio, and they said, we are here. We have come. We heard you calling our name, so we are here. Then they started beating me.
How? What kind of beating did they subject you?
The papajache hit me on the side of my chin, and the other one also hit me on the side of my chin, and the other one, which is Kung Fu, he pulled my leg from the seat, and everything which is on my head was, even the off my shirt and everything, and they beat me from inside to here. So I hit my head on this thing.
So this is the studio.
Yeah,
this is the transmission room.
Yeah.
So they brought you here. They pulled you from the studio
and brought me here. What I heard, one boy was saying, "Let's bring him out." Then they brought me here and did what they want to do, and they went away.
Why are you convinced that these people are from the camp of the MC?
I know them. I know them.
So why is it that if you know them, have you reported them to the police?
Yes, yesterday we did that.
Have you heard that any arrest has been made?
No, so far.
So after beating you, what has become of you? Did you go to the hospital?
Yes, I went to the police. People came here. They took some things, what happened here, we told them, and they took me to their office and they gave me a form to go to hospital. And yesterday I went to the hospital and there was no doctor, but they assured me that today they will see to everything and it will go over.
Okay, so let's get more on this. Richard Kojo-Nyarko is joining us now for updates on this. Richard, this is a time where the country is obviously grappling with making another statement after we dipped on the press freedom ranking. So what more do we know about this case?
Well, so this incident happened on Monday, 7 p.m. It's a usual show they do on Benya FM based in Nina. But the topic this time round was on the premix fuel. You know, the premix fuel has been a subject of discussion lately because the fishermen are not even getting that particular product. And so when it comes to the landing beach committee for them to share, it becomes very difficult for them to even share. So this gentleman went on air as usual, and then they were discussing people that are not fishers that benefit from the sharing of the product. And I think that in the middle of the discussion, these men stormed the station and then assaulted him and then vandalized some of the property belonging to the station. But the police are yet to make any arrests in connection with this, even though the gentleman claims that he knows the three people that stormed the station. He's reported the matter to the police, giving the names to the police, but we are yet to see any arrests, except to be told that investigations are ongoing.
The name of the DC has come up. Have you reached out to him? And
exactly.
What's
so
his side of the story?
The DC's name was mentioned in the narration of this gentleman, and so I had to go to the DC to ask him whether he knows these people, because the gentleman claims that these were the boys of the DC. They see him, he sees them with the DC every time they go to the premix landing committees when there is a sale of premix. And so I have been engaging the DC for the commander Edna Egba for Ebrim Municipality, Solomon Ebuapia.
The incidents happened. I had a call from the owner of the radio station, which has been my friend for the past 15 years. And some people have gone to the station to alleging that they've gone to vandalize on some comments passed by the presenter then on a particular program. But prior to that, I had called him because we had wanted to schedule a meeting 5 o'clock to meet to talk about Elmina and development as well. Also complained to him that appears to be that the guy presenter has a purpose just to malign me, malign the government, and malign every inch of activity the government is doing. So I reported to him as a friend, and he said he was going to investigate and get back to me. When he got back to me, he indicated that this is what actually transpired. So what I told him that he should first of all report to the police. So I directed that he should report to the police, and I also directed that police commander that this is what has happened. So he should go and investigate so that we see the outcome of the investigation. Then whoever was found culpable, the law will deal with the person. And I know, and I'm very optimistic that my police command is a very hard-working person. I will make sure that any name that is mentioned associated with the matter will be arrested, investigated, and thereafter, if they find culpable, they will be prosecuted according to the law. No, so why? No, so why? So everybody comes to me. Why is it that consistently they always want to link something against my person? I was at the Patasi this morning with the Angel TV program. And indeed, you were there. If they were my boys, yesterday you were with me. Did anybody come to me to say that, oh, Chief, me a boy, so can you give me fuel? So these are some of the things that sometimes people do, and we don't treat crime as a separate crime from an individual. And that's a deliberate attempt. And as I've said, once the presenter had claimed, I will write to the National Media Commission. I will ask my lawyers to advise me on this, because something had happened. Ask his boss, Manoma, who asked him to go and report the police.
Well, let's bring you to the Greater Accra region. Dozens of unemployed nurses this morning hit the streets of Accra to demand their immediate postings by the Ministry of Health. Now, according to some of them, they have been home since 2019 after their graduation without any sign of posting from government. Others also accuse some officials at the Ministry of taking monies from their colleagues before giving them jobs. My colleague Samuel Mbura was with the protesters who later picketed the Health Ministry and presented their petition to an HR official.
Scores of unemployed nurses have hit the streets of Accra today to demand their immediate postings by the Health Ministry. They say the ministry is using the backdoor approach in posting persons who completed school recently and leaving those who completed years ago. In a petition delivered to the Ministry of Health, the aggrieved demanded that immediate steps should be taken to get them posted because life has been unbearable. Some of these nurses have been speaking.
We completed 2019 till now, we've not been posted. And now how the economy is going, no man will pick you and then you are not working, you are unemployed.
I'm from all the way from Boku to this place just because of the posters. I have sat in the house for 3 good years.
We are pleading on the government to post us now. We are tired of sitting at home. Our parents are single parenting and they are suffering. We have siblings too that they are taking care of.
MOH is being discriminative. Some of the 2019 batch, we access the portal on the same day with them. Are at their post working now, and we be in the house.
But Deputy Director in charge of Human Resources at the Ministry, Lawrence Odate Lawson, who received the petition, assured them their grievances will be addressed.
Like we told you, we have received your petition. You know, we were mentioning your names. We are handling it point by point, order by order, and we have communicated to you that we're going to take it to our authorities for the issues to be addressed.
However, the nurses say they will further petition Parliament if their demands are not met. Samuel Mbura's report for JoyNews.
Well, let's stay in the health sector. Ambulance workers in the country are requesting that the government provides them police escorts. Now, it follows recent robbery attacks on some of them under the name of the Emergency Medical Technologists Association of Ghana, MTAG. The group is also making their calls after a recent or a similar attack in the Zebila district on one of the officers after he was transporting a patient and was attacked when en route to the Presbyterian Hospital in Boku. Now, the service person was shot by some armed robbers as well. Now, according to the association's president, Michael Jani, the gang physically assaulted the crew and threatened to kill them. The association is worried because 13 attacks have been reported with one member dead, but no arrests have been made. There's more in the following report.
In the Zebila District Ambulance Office attack on May 11th this year, the Emergency Medical Technologists Association of Ghana, MTAG, is seeking that the government provides police escort in their line of duty. At a press briefing here in Accra, the group said about 13 attacks have been reported, but authorities have expressed little seriousness towards the matter. Michael Ghani is the president of the association.
The very recent attack on our hardworking colleagues, EMTs, of the Zebila District Ambulance Office crew who were transporting a patient from Presbyterian Hospital, Boku, to Tamale Teaching Hospital on the 11th of this May. There are about 13 documented incident attacks to date. In this instance, we lost one precious life. We suggest for a policy initiative to ensure a collaboration between the National Ambulance Service and the Ghana Police Service to provide police escort for ambulances.
The group also appeals for the approval of its proposed risk allowance and full disclosure of a patient's medical issues as it discusses the dangers of the job.
We therefore want to appeal to all health facilities to be fair with us about patients' conditions and disclosed every bit of information to us. The approval of the proposed risk allowance for EMT.
Deputy General Secretary of the Health Services Workers Union, Patricia Cheneboa, called for investigations into the incident and for perpetrators to be brought to book.
We are also, by this statement, calling on the government to investigate the matter to bring the culprits to book.
Some workers also talked about the difficulties they face while trying to save lives.
How we felt about it is very bad. Sometimes when we are on night duties and they even dispatch, we are scared to go.
Quite recently, my team experienced one in Dodoa, where my team was dispatched to Dodoa Hospital to transport a patient who was in a respiratory arrest.
Like few minutes after we get in there, the woman passed on. The families of the woman just attacked the ambulance.
The association is further making an appeal to the general public to cease attacks on its members. Efwa Aprekua Boafo's report read to you.
And thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. We'll return shortly after this break. And you're welcome back. Civil society organizations are calling on government to make efforts to settle capitation grant arrears as many schools struggle to run. Now, according to the organizations, the delay in disbursement is affecting the quality of teaching and learning. There's more in the following report.
As part of effort to meet goal number 4 of the SDGs, the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition wants government to address gaps in the education sector. Speaking at the 2022 Global Action Week on Education, the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Kwame Dagbando, called on the sector ministry and the Ministry of Finance to release the grants to schools.
The current state of affairs within our education purview has even been discussed this morning nationwide. Is more importantly tilted towards free SHS. And everybody is crying that we don't have the resource, yet we are pushing out there to achieve. We are not on a political platform. We are only sharing our thoughts to the discourse that is available and going forward, because education is our priority. And we therefore call on government, Madam Chairperson, that since 2019, this is the most pathetic one, which breaks some of us down. The capitation grants has been in arrears. We wish that the Ministry of Education speeds up in trying to release the capitation grants that have been in arrears for a very long time.
He further urged them to release cost of living allowances. According to him, the recent inflation rate of 23.6% announced by the government statistician has eroded the long-negotiated 7% salary increase for the public sector workers.
As we speak today, our inflation has hit 23.6%, and this is the highest in 18 years. This is evidence, this data gotten right from the ground. This has actually eroded what we teacher unions went to negotiate in a few years past, 4 against 7%. And we also want to take this opportunity today as we celebrate the Global Action Week, that the teacher unions together with organized labor are saying that the long negotiated 7% has been eroded. And therefore, we are calling on government to reorganize, if not cut down their budget, their expenditure, to quickly adhere to the clarion call by organized labor, together with what the teacher unions are also calling on.
The Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, however, says the organization is committed to using social dialogue to encourage the ministry and its agencies to attend to the grievances of teachers. Mawusi Numos report for JoyNews.
Well, the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition is still mounting pressure on government to release all the outstanding arrears for the capitation grant for basic schools. There's more in the following report.
Article 25 of Ghana's 1992 Constitution states expressly that the state must make provision for a free education at the basic level in a program dubbed Free Compulsory Universal Basic Education. Under this program, every child of school-going age in the country should have access to basic education without any financial, parental, material, or any form of hindrance. In furtherance of this constitutional provision, the capitation grant was introduced in 2003-2004 academic year. The fund was designed to finance the purchase of teaching and learning materials so as to improve the quality of learning, and it could also be used to fund small repairs, administration, and examination expenses. During the 2017-2018 academic year, the grant was revised from 4 cedis 50 pesos to 10 Ghana cedis for each child per year. However, the Ghana National Education Coalition is reporting that the disbursement of the funds has been delayed, a situation which is crippling basic schools across the country. Benis Imperi Jechi, national coordinator of the program, tells me that some further deductions are made on the meager amounts allocated to each pupil.
In the funds on time, it was supposed that every term for now a child is given 10 cedis for 10 Ghana cedis for the whole year. But for the 10 Ghana cedis too, I think there are some deductions at the regional and the district level within the Ghana Education Service. So what ends up coming to the school is 7 cedis 50 pesos for each child. And that one is supposed to be divided within 3 terms. So it means that every term a child is getting 2 cedis 50 Ghana cedis. But on the side of the government, 2 cedis 50 pesos for a term for each child in the public basic schools. But it got to a time to when they release the first term tranche, the rest of the term doesn't come at all. So it's again sent parents back to the old situation where they have to provide everything for their children, their textbook, their uniforms, their feeding and everything. So the policy is not really working as it's supposed to be.
She also adds that the delay in payment is beginning to affect the quality of education.
At the end of the day, the Ghanaian child is going to suffer. Because when you go to public schools in some rural areas, about 68% of the children cannot speak English because they do not have enough resources at the basic level. Introducing reading, effective reading, the phonics books, the handwriting books, all those basic school resources, they don't have it in the rural schools. We are recommending that the Ministry of Education and other stakeholders should ensure the sustenance and efficient and effective implementation of the capitation grant program, which is very key. First, the government should release the monies on timely basis so that the teachers can actually and the heads of the school can really use the money for the intended purpose. And once the monies are released, we are also...
At the Koko Mlemle Basic 1 and 2 here in Accra, there are visible signs that school authorities are having difficulties carrying out simple repairs. National Programs Manager of the Ghana National Education Coalition, Festus Amate, tells me that due to the unavailability of funds, basic schools such as this one are having serious challenges.
Yeah, as we are all aware, education is supposed to be made free for every child. And apart from that, it's supposed to be quality. And the capitation grant has come in to support parents, to relieve parents of the burden of paying school fees. And therefore, we expect that every child in this country is supposed to be in school. Frankly speaking, access now is okay, but then the quality is an issue.
And now the Nalerigo Magistrate Court in the Northeast region has remanded 3 persons into custody in connection with a matter of a 14-year-old boy who was attacked with acid at Nalerigo. The 3 include the main suspect, Ibrahim Seidu, who was charged with attempted murder. The 2 others are Inusa Mohammed, and also we have Inusa Wadudu, who were both charged with aiding and abetting the offence of attempted murder. Regional Police Public Relations Officer ASP Robert Anibik says the suspects have been remanded in police custody to reappear on the 30th of this month.
Police prosecutors told the court that on 30th March 2022 at about 11 a.m. at Nalerigo Senior High School, the first accused Ibrahim Salifu attempted to kill the victim Ben Wundua by tying his hands and the legs with a rope, hanging him upside down and beating him for many hours before pouring a substance believed to be acid on his tied legs and hands, and finally dumping him in an uninhabited bush overnight, resulting in the hospitalization and amputation of his arm and the right leg. Prosecutors also established that the incident took place within the premises of the Nalerigo Senior High School. The 2 other suspects, Inusa Mohammed, 38, and Inusa Wadudu, 18, were charged with aiding and abetting the offense of attempted murder by promoting, purposely facilitating, and directly instigating the first accused to kill the victim by providing him with 2 empty plastic barrels and tied tubes, and also taking part in a beating of the victim. Acting Regional Public Relations Officer ASP Robert Anibik explained what transpired in court.
When they appeared before court today, their plea was not taken and they have been remanded into police custody for us to continue with our investigations so that they can reappear on the 30th of May 2022. And besides that, our investigations, as part of our investigations, we visited the homes of the suspects and we were able to retrieve a container that has a substance we suspect to be acid, about which we will want to send it to our forensic lab for examination, and of which we'll be able to determine whether indeed it contains acid. And that was the one that was used to spray on the small boy, leading to his hands being amputated.
The police PRO called on the public to assist the police in a fight against crime in the region.
The Regional Police Command and all of us here in the region, we are doing our best to provide security to the people of the region. And therefore, we call upon them to continue to support us by giving us valuable information. It was a good Samaritan who even drew the attention of the police to this barbaric act. And we will call upon them to continue to volunteer such information to us, so that if anybody is found committing a crime, the person can be brought to book.
All the suspects were present in court, but their pleas were not taken and were remanded into police custody for 2 weeks, pending further investigation and directive from the Attorney General. At the hospital, the 14-year-old boy has been responding to treatment. His condition has now stabilized according to doctors treating him. His father, who had expressed dissatisfaction with the police handling of the case, is now happy after the court proceeding. He said he was now hopeful that justice will be served.
I'm now happy because I think that the justice that I was calling for will come. So I'm happy with what happened this morning. The judge, God will reward him for me.
He, however, pleaded with some influential individuals who, according to him, are trying to influence the matter to stay off and allow the law to take its course, as he vowed to pursue the matter to its logical conclusion.
If any chief try to intervene to this case, I am ready. Even if I die and then this world will be okay. I like it because I want to do something for those who are my back, because I've already seen what I want to see. They have put me in a situation that I can't do what, I can't talk. So what I'm going through, I don't want different person to go through that way again in another year. That's why I'm calling for justice, and I'm still standing for the justice.
Dozens of family, relatives and sympathizers were at the facility to witness the condition of the boy and offer their prayers for his speedy recovery. The grandmother of the boy Boy called for the intervention of the Gender and Social Protection Ministry as well as philanthropic individuals to assist her grandson.
I was with this boy. He stayed with me. They brought him when he was 7 months and they gave him to me. I handled him happy. He should have been able to do something for me right now. He can't do anything for me. So in fact, I feel like even dying and leaving this child. So I need your help.
From Nalerigo, Ilyas Sotanko, reporting for Joy News.
Now, a High Court in Kumasi has dismissed an application filed by an accounts officer seeking to reverse his dismissal by the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. The court, presided by Justice Ali Baba, ruled that the governing board's decision to sack Awuni Ayuriba was procedurally right as outlined in the hospital's code of conduct. In November 2021, the accused or the affected person was accused of some top and together with some top officials were accused for abusing their public office. Live FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku was in the Kumasi High Court and now filed this report.
Awuni Atreba accused the Chief Executive Officer and the Medical Director of the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital for misappropriating funds allotted for COVID-19 reliefs. He alleged they diverted the funds to procure 2 luxurious vehicles. The accountant was consequently dismissed by the governing board of CATH for failing to appear before the hospital's disciplinary committee and peddling falsehood against management. Awuni Atreba, however, refuted the claim.
My boss was given his copy. They copied my boss. I was not served. He was not given I wasn't served through him. He was given only his copy. So how can that be made to construe, or how can that be construed to be that it was served through me, it was served me through my boss?
The accountant therefore prayed the Kumasi High Court seeking an order of judicial review in the nature of a certiorari to quash the decision of the governing board of the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. But the court quashed the case on the defense of the counsel for CATH for the applicant's decision to seek a judicial review and not a writ. Delivering the verdict, Justice Ali Baba's court ruled, among others, that the rule of natural justice has not been violated, describing the suit as unmeritorious. Awuni Atreba, who spoke to the media after the ruling, said he is not happy with the verdict of the court. He hinted at appealing the decision.
I'm highly disappointed. Yes, I think this is history's greatest infamy in the hospital's record, and even in the record of the judicial system, that an administrative body could gloss over procedural rules of punishing an employee and have his way. It's very disappointing. When the matter happened, I discussed with lawyers and they advised on strategies to adopt. Certiorari, from the onset, I was told that was difficult to succeed with it, but that we could go for wrongful dismissal. If you also listen to the judgment, he passed a comment that we could have filed a writ, full-blown trial for wrongful dismissal other than the certiorari.
For Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
And now the Ghana Health Service says it is concerned about the rising number of hypertensive cases in the country. The service is particularly worried about events in the past year where a significant amount of cases were recorded in the Bono East region alone. There were nearly 22,000 cases in 2021 as against about 18,000 the year before. Bono East regional correspondent Anas Sabit has the rest of the story.
High blood pressure is called a silent killer, not without a reason. Most often, there are no noticeable signs of hypertension, and even if you have symptoms, you may immediately act upon it, dismissing it as routine tiredness or work pressure. With over 1.1 billion people suffering from hypertension across the globe, we take a look at the situation across the Bono East region. Mrs. Helena Gozo is the Deputy Director Clinical Care at the Regional Health Directorate.
Currently, hypertension is one of the
very difficult situations in the region. In fact, as a country at large, but the region also, we are having a lot of numbers as we speak. I can refer and see in 2020, we had a total of 18,293 cases for the region at large. But 2021, we have 21,790 cases. I must say that these are only the reported cases. You and I know that a lot of people don't come to the hospital. So these are just a few of the people that we have.
She recounts how people go about walking around with the ailment without giving attention to it, and adds that the older age groups are more prone to hypertension as compared to the younger ones.
It's a very difficult issue, and people are walking about with high blood pressure without knowing it because the disease does not present any symptom. You know, you think you are fine. You're just walking about probably with a few headaches here and there, and then they think they are okay, never goes to check. When it comes to age groups, I must say that it affects all age groups, from age 1 to the highest you can think of. But the higher or the older you get, the more prone you become to hypertension. So it means that older people are getting the disease more than the younger ages.
Mrs. Helena Gozo was, however, quick to caution the public against certain lifestyles and eating habits that leads to hypertension.
Hypertension is even more common in the urban areas like Techiman, Kintampo, Kranza, and so on, because we are leading a very stressful life. You are in a hurry, you need a lot of money, so you are doing so many things at the same time without going to check whether everything is all right with you or not. So these are some of the things. We don't do exercises, people drink, people smoke a lot, all these things are causes. And the way we eat, some of our eating habits are also a problem.
As the world marked the World Hypertension Day today, Mrs. Helena Gozo called on the people to regularly visit the various wellness clinics around to have their BPs checked as a means of aiding in its early detection and treatment.
It's becoming a canker. It's becoming a very big problem in our society. And so the earlier and also going for screenings, just walk to any facility. Now, all our facilities, we are trying to introduce what we call the wellness clinic. That means that you can always walk to any hospital and have your BP checked, so that early detection is the key. Once it's caught early, then we can quickly take measures to help you with life change modifications, and then if you need medication, you start taking the medication.
Anas Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
And now some constituency youth organizers of the governing New Patriotic Party in the Greater Accra region have thrown their weight behind the re-election bid of incumbent regional youth organizers Moses Abo. Now, according to the organizers who thronged the party's regional secretariat yesterday to pick nomination forms on behalf of Mr. Abo, they did so out of love and also decided to pay him back for the tremendous support he is giving all the constituency youth organizers in the Greater Accra region. There's more in this report.
Here are some Greater Accra constituency youth organizers, numbering about 25, at the NPP's regional office here in Accra. The organizers, plus some TESCON members, pledged their unflinching support to Moses Abo and described him as a unifier who is committed to helping the party pursue its Breaking the Eight agenda. The Greater Accra Operations Youth Wing and the Tema West Constituency Youth Organizer, Prince Kofi Boama, extolled the virtues of Mr. Abo, describing him as someone who has served them diligently all these years.
We are here to support Honorable Moses Abo for a wonderful work done. When you come to the region, you cannot take anybody out from the region. We cannot take Moses out. Moses has been a supportive anchor to almost all the youth organizers. Those who have gone for organizers will even testify. So today we came here to come and support Honorable Moses Abor to pick his forms. And we came and we realized that he wasn't around. So we personally have bought the forms for Honorable Moses Abor so that we will wish him the best and make sure he wins the next coming elections. We have about 20 to 25 youth organizers in other constituencies supporting him. Some of our colleagues were ready to join us, but unfortunately they had other businesses they couldn't come. What we are trying to say is the whole entire youth wing, that is a youth organizer for Greater Accra, are saying that we are pledging our support, 100% support to Honorable Moses Abor. I believe that the TESCON too have also pledged their support. So you can imagine, we want to understand as a youth in Greater Accra, our only blessing is Honorable Moses Abor.
Some of the constituency organizers who spoke to the media also observed that the incumbent youth organizer has what it takes to marshal market women and Okada riders in supporting the agenda of the NPP in the 2024 elections.
Well, Moses Abor is a unifier, he's a grassroots mobilizer, and going into 2024 election, we are looking for somebody who can mobilize the grassroots, and that's the quality we see in Moses. He can unify the base, he can mobilize the base for us to be able to break the eights.
You lost some seats in 2020.
That is the very reason why we need Moses to come and help mobilize the youth base for us to break the eights. There are some constituencies that we won. I may not like to stand here to tell you that we can win this, we can win it. For strategic reasons, we'll keep that to ourselves. But the fact is that the next election, Moses is going to help us mobilize the base for us to be able to break the eights.
All the market women in Greater Accra, they listen to Moses Abor. All the Okada riders in Greater Accra, they listen to Moses Abor. And these are the people who communicate directly with voters. Obi beto adia market woman ebitimi eni na kasase o aban we enfani nko anam enfani nko. All the tractor drivers in Greater Accra, they are like that with Moses. Entino ye huni say he already has the base. Now 2024 no, it is not enye election yebeka say yeko try ashe. Yeah, 2020 election as mother of all election. Na template ever Greater Accra no. Honorable Moses Pendekita, that template that we will need to go into the 2024 election. That is why we are all behind him.
The regional elections for the governing NPP is slated between May 27 and 29 this year. For Joy News, I am Chrissy Parker Wilson.
Well, so let's now bring you some more on the tariff proposals presented by the utility companies. Joining us now is Corporate Affairs Director of NETCO, Maxwell Kutuka. Thank you for joining us here on the poll. So we've heard from ECG, we know of the Ghana Water Company as well, and now NETCO has also been making a case. We've not heard much about this, but break it down for us. Exactly what proposals are you making to the PURC?
Our case is not particularly different from the other cases, except to indicate that we operate in a very difficult terrain. Difficult in the sense that we cover about 64% of the land mass of Ghana, and yet we don't have an equivalent number of customers to speak to that. So whereas we cover 64% of the land mass, on the average, we have about 7 customers per square kilometer. And if you look at that, what it means is that ab initio, before we even start computing anything, our cost of operation is rather very, very high. I am sure that we do not want to say that if that is the case, then let's operate from a very financially viable perspective, in which case it will mean that we may have to deny some people service. But that is not what we want to do. And so before we begin, we have a very serious deficit to the extent that the customer profile is also a very huge burden on us. Whereas, and you know that the tariff system that we run in Ghana for now is such that we do cross-subsidization. So when you have a good number of SLT, that is special load tariff customers, or even the non-residential customers, they pay a little more, and so by and large they cross-subsidize what
Right.
the residentials use.
Mm.
Our case is the reverse. So you have, for instance, 84.9%, that's almost 85% of our customers in the residential category. Now that 85% of customers who are in the residential category consume about 67.7% of the energy we make available. Then, as if that is not enough, their total contribution to revenue is 51.4%. When you move to the non-residential, we have about 15.03% in that category, consuming about 24% of the power we make available.
Right.
And they contribute 38.9% to revenue.
Interesting figures. Interesting figures you're putting out there. I'm afraid Maxwell would have to hold on with a discussion. Let's bring you a developing story now in the Talensi district. Maxwell will come to you shortly, but in the Talensi district of the Upper East region, we are learning that there has been a cell break with some inmates escaping. Let's get on the phone lines now and speak to ASP David Ultre-Fianco, who is the Upper East Regional Police PRO. Thank you for joining us. So what officially have you received at your desk telling us about what has happened in the Upper East region?
Good afternoon to you and your listeners, and thanks for the opportunity. It's the fact that we have recorded prisoner escape in the Tongo District Police Station here in the Upper East region. However, the police put adequate security measures in place to recapture these 3 suspected individuals that have escaped lawful custody.
Hello, sir. We're losing you intermittently. If you could make the point for me again.
Yes, the point that I made was that we have recorded such incidents in the Upper East region, especially that is Tongo Police Station, where 3 people that were in lawful custody have escaped, and the police are doing everything possible to recapture them as soon as possible.
Do we know the profiles of the individuals involved, and probably would you like to share for the information of the public?
Yes, their ages range between, one is a juvenile, so they are from 17 to 37. They are all male, and though they are on a different cases or suspected on different issues, we were able to escape together. So what we are doing now is to activate our intelligence machinery and operations to recapture them.
Is there anything that the public would have to be on the lookout for?
Yes, whenever some individuals are able to escape custody, their first port of call is the surrounding community, where they try to seek support, including material support, that is clothing, footwear, money, to aid them to travel extensively from where they have escaped. So it's in view of this that we are urging or asking the community members of Talensi district, Pualugu, Bogatanga, and the surrounding areas.
Unfortunately, we've lost the ASP. Maxwell, let's hold on a while longer while we get back to the NEDCO conversation. But we're also learning this afternoon as well that there are some chaotic scenes in Nkraza now as we speak, where the youth are said to have attacked a police station there as well and freed some suspects. Ohimi Interior is there for us. Ohimi, earlier you were telling us about some of the demonstrations and activities going on within the community. How come that they've moved so quickly to a police station? Tell us more.
Can you come again with the question? But if I get you clearly,
yes.
The situation, I must say, this is a very charged atmosphere as the youth in the Nkraza South municipality mass up in front of the municipal police headquarters in their numbers. And just a while ago, they started attacking the building itself, and then also managed to free some suspects. And I can also report that journalists here are being threatened not to take a video or visuals. So all that we can do is to just observe and then from afar see how the situations and the events unfold here. But I must say it's a charged atmosphere here. I really can't tell where the few police officers who are on duty have been, but I must say that indeed the youth have taken over the Mfranza Municipal District Police Command, their headquarters here, and doing as it may be what leads them to the building. Some have started, throwing clubs, stones, and everything that they laid their hands on the building, and also proceeded in freeing some of the suspects who are kept in shells here. So that is what is happening.
And surprisingly, this is happening as we know that there's a regional security council meeting.
Oh, now I've seen a young man being pounced on by the youth because they suspect he has taken a video shot of what is happening there. So I could count about 200 angry youth who have massed up and assaulting the gentleman, not even the presence of the parents and then relatives of the young man around to save him. So he's been attacked. They've just, came in their numbers, and he's been kept beyond what can be done to save him now. I don't really know what is happening here, but I can report the total breakdown of a rule of law. It is chaos. The Mkuranza road has been taken over by the youth because the municipal police headquarters is just situated on this stretch of the road. So the motorists who are using this particular stretch, if they are listening to us now, if they are watching us now, the best option for them is probably choose other optional, routes in order to avoid falling into this chaos that is happening here in Nigeria. Yes, in Franza, I must say, yes, I'll say the regional security council meeting ended in Keshimai, and the security members followed up to Franza, where they engaged the media and also promised to engage the youth who were already agitated. But I must say that that particular meeting, that assurance that the regional minister, and his members of the Security Council gave did little to appease the youth who are bent on carrying through their stress. This is something that is settled in the afternoon, and lo and behold, they give up to that stress. And I must say, there's chaos. No security operatives are seen here. I haven't seen any policeman or military officer or any security operative in this particular instance, but it's always the youth who are attacking the municipal police headquarters with stones, clubs, and anything that they could lay their hands on. But it's not easy to identify them because some of them are here in hoods. They have hoods covering their faces. All right. So it is difficult to identify even those who are being involved in this act.
And Ohiming, do we know about the number of suspects who've been freed?
Unfortunately, I can't give the number of the suspects, but I saw a couple of them. They were being lined up, crossing the road. They were being lined up and being helped to cross the road because I spoke to a few of the leaders here who told me now they are down, taking over the police station. Their next move is to free the suspects. And within the twinkle of an eye, within a couple of few minutes, I saw the suspects being freed and they were being helped to cross to the other side of the road as the majority of the youth who were standing by applaud the efforts of their leaders in ensuring that the suspects who were in custody being freed in this instance.
Ohimi Teria there on the ground for us, monitoring the situation in Kraza. As we understand, the youth are on rampage, taking over a police station there. We'll bring you updates in our subsequent bulletins. But now we also have to put our focus on tariffs. Many of you out there have been asking PURC to try and deal with the demand by the utility providers for an upward adjustment. Well, fortunately, Maxwell is still with us with NETCO. NETCO is also making their case on this matter. Earlier, Maxwell, you were making the point about how you're covering a very large landmass and yet you're not getting returns on that. Tell us more about your concerns.
Thank you very much for the opportunity once more. Like I was saying earlier, our residential customer population is 84.96. That's almost 85%. They consume about 67.67% of the power we make available, and their contribution to revenue is 51.4%. The case of non-residential customers is 53.03 by population, consuming 24% of the power made available, and they contribute 38% to revenue. What that means is that without stretching the argument any further, you will know that if we had more of these non-residential and in fact even the SLT customers, then the principle of cross-subsidization would have been would have been made better and more meaningful to us. Unfortunately, the SLT customers constitute a meager 0.01%, and they contribute as much as 9% of our revenue. 9% to our revenue. They consume only 8% of the power made available to the operational area. So what it means is that if we get more of the SLT customers, then cross-subsidization would have made more meaning to us. As if this were not enough, of the wide range that we operate in, as many as 46% of our customers are lifeline customers. And the lifeline customer, 46% is almost 50%. That's almost half of what we do. Remember, I said that to get to 7 customers on the average, you need to cover 1 kilometer square. And so this is also a drain on our resources. And that is one of the reasons, very key reasons, that we need to look again at the tariffs, because it's a national matter. It's not as if NETCO is being inefficient. But just let me also add that
do we know, and just on that point you're making, do we know that, are you putting a figure to it in terms of the proposal that you're putting before PURC?
Yes, we are humbly and very, very submissively requesting the PURC to kindly consider giving us 67.16 pesos per kilowatt hour, which is about 113% above the current rate, which is 31.53%. Please permit me to make this point. It's a very crucial point. If I don't make any point at all and I make this one, I am very fine with it. Of the 46% of our customers who are lifeliners, it's important to remark that they get to pay about 32.61% 32.61 pesos per kilowatt hour, which is itself 40.70 pesos less than our cost per kilowatt hour. Our cost per kilowatt hour comprises the bulk generation cost, the transmission cost, and the distribution cost. All these three together give us a total cost of 73.31, and we sell it to the lifeliner at 32.61, which is already a drain on our resources. We spend more on it than we give it to the lifeline. And remember, I said they are about 50% of our population. This is the case of NETCO, a very pathetic one.
And you're setting that your consumers will be able to bear the cost?
Well, sincerely, we appreciate their difficulties, their concerns, and the strains we all find ourselves in today for obvious reasons. But fact is, if we strain a little more and pay, we will be able to sustain the operations of NETCO. That will mean sacrificing today for tomorrow's gain. We believe that that is a better option than to sacrifice today's sacrifice forgo today's sacrifice at that and suffer the consequences tomorrow, which will mean that there won't be any electricity at all tomorrow.
All right then. I'm grateful. Thanks for joining us. Now, no school from the Volta and OT regions has won the National Science and Maths Quiz trophy since its inception more than 20 years ago. But students of Anglo SHS, Abo Senior High School, and Awudoma SHS say they are determined to end the trophy drought this year. The NSMQ trio bases, and of course from 2 other regions as well, which includes Kitasco, got closer to breaking the jinx when it made it to the last years of the finals. Now, Anseko and Awusko, as well as Abosco, all qualified on day 1 of the Volta OT National Science and Maths Quiz regional qualifiers. Maxwell Agbagba has more from the Volta region.
So from the western region to the central region to the eastern region, now the southern zone is now in the Volta region. And Awudoma Senior High School is the first school to qualify from the Volta region for the national championship. Let's speak to some of the students.
Oh yeah, we are good. We are good. We are happy.
What should we expect in the national championship?
The national champions, we are going to win as we won here. So we hope for the best.
You're a teacher.
I like words to actually express it. This is a sweet victory. You know, initially we knew we were going to win, but in order not to be complacent, we kept our cool, and by God's grace, our hard work paid off. So we're hoping that we replicate the same performance in or better in the subsequent contest, and hopefully we'll meet at the final. So
as you can see, it's very appalling.
All official listing. All official listing. This contest, it was very appalling, very diminishing, very contesting, very championship, very everything.
And shine, young patrons of our school. Join us together and lift up the image high above. The good news are proclaimed.
Abo Senior High School has qualified for the national championship. They beat Dabala Senior High School, Clickwa, SHS, SHS, and then the SHS to qualify for the national championship. This gentleman here and the guys from Awudoma Senior High School are saying that they're going to break the jinx of no Volta region or OT region school winning the NSMQ trophy. Let's talk to them.
Yeah, I can say that confidently that it is time for the Volta region, especially the schools along the coast, to win the trophy this time at the nationals.
Okay. Are you confident that you can do that this year?
Yeah, we are very confident.
Okay. So what should we expect?
You should expect a school from the Volta region to take the trophy and bring it back home.
Okay.
Back to back.
This is the
back to back. We will keep it for 3 years.
Keep what for 3 years?
The trophy for 3 years. 3 consecutive times. 3 consecutive times. Yes.
Okay. Beat Prempe and Presec. We beat Prempe and Presec.
On the way. Bosco, we are coming.
Well, headmaster of the Bishop Herman College, Francis Dominic Kudolo, says the school authorities have identified stage fright as one of the impediments to their quest to reach the quarterfinals of the National Science and Maths Quiz competition in recent years. He is optimistic to second-year students who represented the school in the 2021 competition will helped them go far this year as they qualified for the 2022 championship with 73 points. At the end of the contest, Bishop Herman College had 73 points, Mafe Kumasi School with 16 points, Anglo Awomefia SHS with 1, and Ave SHS with 1 point. Maxwell Agbagba has more from home.
Bishop Herman College has qualified for the national championship later this year. It's a deserved win of 73 points, the highest that we've seen so far here in the Volta and OT zone. They are banking on the experience of 2 second-year students who represented the school in the 2021 championship, who are again representing the school for this year's competition.
You guys should expect something bigger with better. See, as the soldiers of Christ, we are come to conquer all other schools. Last year we couldn't make it to the quarterfinals. This year they should expect us in the finals. Okay, let them just relax.
What's your expectation?
School in here, Bishop Herman College. I said, all I have to tell them that we are coming. Bishop Herman is coming. The college is coming. Thank you. The only college.
We are expecting Ketasco in this regional championship finals, and they should just watch out for us.
Adults should wait for us. And these adults should wait for us. We will meet them again.
We are the soldiers of Christ forever.
So I have with me the headmaster for Bishop Herman College.
We hope we will remain the highest for this year. And we are praying that we enter the championship and win. And then we make progress to Accra.
Undoubtedly, Bishop Herman College is one of the best schools in the Volta region. But surprisingly, at the NSMQ, usually they don't make it to the quarterfinals. What do you think is the problem, is the challenge?
Well, we believe that the students have not had a lot of exposure. So when they get to the stage, there's a little fright in them. This time we have exposed them a lot, and we believe that it will help them. So I'm proud my students are doing well, that our name is getting higher, getting to the limelight, and we pray that they will win the contest and everybody will know that yes, Bishop Herman College is second to none.
And thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. We'll return shortly after this break. Please stay.